so much. It's awesome to be here. I was so grateful to work on this project. They're both absolute pros. And yeah, it was a gift. And not to mention one of my favorite directors of all time, Paul Feig.
Okay, and tell us, Ellen, tell us a bit about your character, Patrice. Where does she fit into this movie, and what's her role?
So what's really cool about this movie is it is based on a book. And so Patrice is from the book. What is your policy on cussing here?
As
Keep
long
it.
as as long it's dare I say it's not over 18 sort of stuff. As long as won't bring anything into dispute. Yeah.
Sure, I'll tone it down. So, I play one of the characters known as the PTA Witches, and it's a group of moms that are friends with Amanda Seyfried's character who have plenty to say behind her back. I'll put it that way.
Okay, okay. So the dare I say it's always like those Orange County wives of sort of stuff like that in terms of the bickering. It's almost like TV reality in terms of that. Is
Almost,
it?
I'd say so. Yeah, there's a hierarchy when it comes to the moms in a school, and Amanda's character Nina finds herself wrapped up in that with my character Patrice.
Yeah, and dare I say, this is starts off as a sort of a simple sort of drama type story, but then goes on a sort of twisting spiral. Dare I say, sort of sinister. I wouldn't really call it horror as sort of such, but it comes to where a suspense. It brings you to the edge of your sort of seat and sort of suspense. So it's almost like you're trying to unwrap a thousand pieces when you talk about the housemaid.
I have to keep my lips so sealed. I actually just saw it for the first time the other night, and there's so much that could give something away. A massive twist happens in the movie, and you just can never see it coming, and it unlocks the whole first half as well. And it's just you never know what's going to come next. It's a huge mystery and a huge thriller. I had to close my eyes multiple times. It's quite scary.
And Ellen, tell us, how did this project fall into your lap?
The same way that a lot of projects do. I was lucky enough to be asked to audition. I sent in a self tape, and then after I hadn't heard anything for a while, I kind of, as one does, put it on the back burner and say, all right, that one wasn't for me. And I happened to be on vacation and get a call from my team, and they were so thrilled to tell me. And I said, "What project was that?" And they were
Yeah.
like, the housemaid." And I was like, "Oh, I had really, given up hope on it." And it was just such a nice feeling to keep that dream alive. And then we got to shoot, a couple weeks later, just here in New Jersey.
I suppose that's a common trend for an actress working in the business these days in terms of what project is it? Because you probably send off maybe 20, 30 audition tapes, I would say a month, or am I being a bit generous there in terms of that, in terms of sort of various sorts of roles. So to keep track of them after a month or two goes by, I imagine it's quite hard in terms of that. So there's always a element of surprise when it does come your way, because I imagine as actresses, that's just the nature of the business now these days, where you probably self-tape for maybe 20, 30 roles a month, and all you need is five hits maybe out of those 30.
I mean, I'd say the statistics are even lower. Like I could go a month without any hits, and then you never know. And then there's five in a row later down the line. But I think something that I've learned to kind of like toughen my own skin, and in this industry that's full of rejection, is kind of like once I send it in, I send the best work that I can, and it has to go on that back burner, right? It has to live somewhere where I'm not really thinking about it, so that when the surprise and the joy and the work comes, I can feel like, oh. Welcome back. Thanks. I hadn't been gnawing my fingernails thinking about it.
And I suppose you're growing up in the industry now where self-taping is the norm. And I've spoken to many sort of actresses and actresses who would have worked in the 90s, 2000, and they just can't get their head around the new take in the industry. Who's so used to auditioning in person, seeing the director, seeing the producers, being able to look them in the eye, being able to read the room and get that vibe maybe coming out of the audition, whether they be back for a sort of second take. This is almost like a blind sort of environment. Do you like it in one way, or are you old fashioned, or are you a traditionalist and such? Because everything you probably grew up and were taught about in acting school is probably so different now.
Definitely. I mean, I went to school for theater, and so being in the room is always going to be my first love. Like being able to engage my whole body and meet with someone and have chemistry with them in real life is always going to be my favorite. I've everyone's had to adapt, and I think there are so many opportunities with taping where I could tape for someone who's maybe far away, or I can work on a tape a million times before I get the take that I think is right. So I've learned to love it, or I've learned to to do my best at it. But I feel old fashioned in that way where if I could get in the room, and thankfully a lot of that's coming back, or sometimes callbacks are in the room. Um, if I have the opportunity, I love to be in person. Yeah, for sure.
And Ellen, did you get to mingle with Sydney Sweeney on the first day on set, and what was that sort of like? And I imagine that she's wanted by nearly everybody at the moment. Everyone wants to get their piece of hands on her. So when you get to work with her on set, maybe and work closely, do you get to see the character, the real life person up close? And what was that like?
Yeah, she was actually my very first scene I shot with her. And we went through hair and makeup and got to our marks, and they were figuring out the lighting and everything. And before we shot our first take, the entire crew and the cast and everybody gave her a round of applause because she had been so professional the day before that they had made their day when they were behind. And that was my first impression of her. And I think it was really eye-opening because I think there's a lot of narrative that anyone can say about any celebrity. And it was so cool to see in real life how professional she is, how extremely talented she is. I was watching her takes on the monitor. She's obviously beautiful, but just so talented and understands the lens, that I learned a ton from her. And of course, she's deeply kind and really present. And yeah, works her butt off.
And what was it like shooting this movie? I believe you filmed it in New Jersey. Was it in a particular location? Dare I say, well, you can't say off the beaten track in New Jersey because probably every place is New Jersey. But did you get some sort of place where you had sectioned off maybe for a month or two to sort of film this to maybe obviously keep the privacy attached in terms of filming and or was it all within a studio compound?
Well, when you see the movie, you'll see that the house is almost another character, and we actually shot in that house the whole
Okay.
time. There's some locations here and there, but everything inside is the house that you're seeing, and so they were setting up all throughout the rooms, and we were there.
Yeah. And what was that like? Was filming days? Were you talking maybe 6 a.m. to probably a 4 p.m. sort of wrap or take, or was it different for you? Did your character have to be on set only various days, or what was the working like? Obviously, be playing a support character in this movie. What was the working week like for yourselves? Did you have a bit of time out in between working days?
Well, what I love about film is I come from a big TV background. And so
Mm,
on TV, you're shooting sometimes 8 or 9 pages a day. But
mm,
when you're working on a movie, you're doing way less. So you can really get into the nitty gritty of it. You can spend a lot of time on a special shot. And so sometimes we'd be doing 2 or 4 pages a day, but that would be our entire day.
mm.
Because I was coming from Brooklyn, I would have to, I'd be getting out to New Jersey by 6 or so. But Paul shoots pretty compact days, so we were out of there at a reasonable time every night for sure. But sometimes we'd shoot one scene. I'd get on set, at 9, and we'd be shooting that one scene until 5 p.m. when we wrap and make our ways back home.
And what was that like, obviously, to work in a project that was maybe that you could commute from your home base rather than being halfway across the country, dare I say, and maybe in a hotel room for best part of a month or two to have that sort of comfort to go to work within, I wouldn't say state lines as sort of such, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's a huge blessing. I love New York. And to be able to come home and have like my pillow at the end of the night and my cup for a cup of tea and like everything and like come home to my partner and like have everything there that makes me feel safe is just another level up to get you ready for the next day of work to go somewhere where you're maybe not as comfortable going, or maybe you have to be a little more vulnerable on set. You get to come home and really like come back to yourself again. There's nothing like it. Yeah.
And dare I say, the babysitter, she goes into what I would say a posh elite family, but a creepy sort of family. You almost get the mix of the Adams family meets the Brady family in terms of
Yeah.
what we're going here in terms of that. It's the two masks. It's almost like two. One side comes out to play at one time, and then another side comes out to play. So we almost get a mix of Wednesday Adams and a Marsha Brady, dare I say.
100%. You could even say like a Jekyll and Hyde, and you never know what version of the family you're going to be getting every morning she wakes up. And that's part of the ride is because you can't ever really put your finger on what anybody's going through, and you can't tell how anyone's going to react in the next moment. And when all the pieces come together at the end of the movie, everything checks out and makes sense. They've edited it and directed it and acted it brilliantly.
And would you say this is an adult movie? Is there sort of adult themes in this movie, or is it a movie that maybe, dare I say, teenagers and maybe sort of grown adults can enjoy, or is it a bit hardcore in the violence, or is there a few raunchy scenes in it, or is it very much mild mannered?
I'd say it's like I was surprised when I saw the rating R. I'd seen the script, but then when you see it on camera, it's really can be so intense. Yeah, there's some violence, there's some sexy times, but I think all in all, it's a film for so many people. It can reach such a wide range. But there's definitely some adult themes, and so like come prepared for that. But yeah, I'd say it's for wide audiences for sure.
And Ellen, I do believe you visited the Emerald Isle recently.
I did. I loved it. I was there for a whole month.
And dare I say, did you get to go around the countryside or did you station yourself in a particular city?
I mostly spent the time in Dublin with my boyfriend, Noah. Shout out to Noah. But we did a hike one day out in Glendalough, which was beautiful. And we got to get just a pint on the way home, I believe, in Wicklow. And then, but mostly I was stationed all around Dublin. I was taking the bus around, and I've been to Ireland a couple other times, but this was the longest stretch of time, and I just cannot speak highly enough about it, about Irish hospitality. It was a beautiful time, and I can't wait to come back.
Ellen Tamaki, I'm going to turn it over to you for the final 30 seconds now. You might enlighten all our listeners, all our audience, why they should go out to the cinema screens en masse on December the 19th to watch The Housemaid. And when they do, Ellen, what's in store for them?
Thank you. I think that going out into the theater with a group of people and having the collective experience of seeing a movie is base level important and beautiful. But this movie elevates that to this otherworldly experience where I was laughing, I was screaming, I was holding my best friend's hand in the audience. It's just something you need to see with a group of people. And I think the cinema is a place where anything can happen. And I really, really implore you to bring a group of friends and go get thrilled in the theater again. It's a beautiful, beautiful time.